The Grey Man does whatever a Grey Man can. Can he make a comic feed? Yes, he can. He just did. Watch now, a video from Grey Man. A video from Grey Man.
Grey Maniacs gather! Hi everybody, it's me here again with another blog. Yeah, I've been fairly busy. I did my Planets themed special for my Patreons. If you like heavy metal and you want a Patreon themed show, a Patreon show themed on the planets. And we're not just talking the four terrestrial not terrestrial, can't remember the word now, I've forgotten it already. Was it terrestrial? The four rocky planets. You've got the four rocky planets on the inside of the solar system, and you've got the gas giants and the ice giants, those four. We've also got to talk about the dwarf planets as well. So you've got, of course, Pluto. Do you know the 5 dwarf planets? Come on, anyone know what the 5 dwarf planets are? Do you know the 5 dwarf planets in our solar system as assigned by the AIU? Can't remember what that stands for now. Or is it IAU? I can't even remember. International something or other. Something to do with space. They decide about the name of things in space, and they decided that Pluto was no longer a planet. And but it's a dwarf planet. But it's not the only one. There's 4 more dwarf planets in our solar system. Do you know them? Do you know them? Huh? Also did an interview with Lady Axe, Natasha Danzig, my mate. She does horror books, horror writing, as well as her band. And I've already interviewed her before about her band. And last night, I got a good chat with her about her horror. And yeah, so check that out if you want to find out about her views on horror books and horror fiction and that, and find out how she got into writing. Might be of interest to some people who are, budding writers in the community even. And if you're interested in buying some books, the links are all there in the blog. Basically, there's a link in the description of the video that sends you to the blog, and in the blog there's links to all her stuff. You can go and buy it if you're interested. Today I've been working on my podcast for tomorrow. Tomorrow's, because it's the last Sunday of the month, it's always a theme show for the last Sunday of the month. And this month I'm going with robots. I choked on my rolled R's then. The robots are the theme for this month. Right, I've read a couple of comic books, not a great deal. Aquaman, read this on the train on the way to Dad's. Oh, this is the second appearance of Starro. Well, the second, maybe not second appearance, but because in it, he's like, it says, last seen in Brave and the Bold, number 28 or whatever it was, which was obviously his first appearance when the Justice League of America faced against him. So, I'm pretty sure that must mean this is his second appearance. So that's pretty cool. It was quite cool to get the second appearance of Starro. I was surprised it's not more of a key, to be honest. Starro is an awesome villain. Anyway, he's in. They basically, what happened when in the Brave and the Bold, they captured him. They covered him in lime or something like that. They solidified him somehow. But before he'd done that, he apparently had broken a little bit of himself off and then hidden in the ocean. And he happened to be in the part of the ocean that's like a crevasse or a trench or something that had become covered in chemicals. Chemicals had been dumped there by man, and somehow it made him more powerful as long as he was in the trench, and he was able to control people. And Aquaman was almost going to be controlled. He ends up getting some kind of box fish or something, I can't remember what it were now, but it seems that their ability is to store fresh water inside them and shoot it out in sprays. I can't remember what kind of fish that was, but they all came into the trench with water and sprayed Starro to wash off the chemicals, so he lost his powers. It was all rather silly, but yeah. And then there's a second backup story, Manhunt for Mars. I talked about this a little while ago. I read the first part of it a while ago. Someone killed one of his friends on Mars. He suspects it to be one of the members of the Justice League. And in this one, he catches up with Hawkman and Hawkwoman, basically tears into Hawkman. So I personally think that he's being slightly mind controlled, because his actions were not like Joan Jones, who's normally much more careful, much more willing to talk first, and he just went in there, basically started attacking Hawkman, saying, "You killed my friend." And it was like, that's not how Joan Jones is normally played. He's much more reasoning than that. He's not a savage. He may be a manhunter, but he's not like a fool, a crazed fool. He ended up being so sort of angry. They managed to both go outside into space, outside of the ship, and they both ended up passing out because they got out of they never had no atmosphere, so they both passed out. I was surprised Martial Manhunter couldn't breathe in space, actually. I'm not too sure. I've ever seen that before. You just think because he's as powerful as Superman, he'd be able to breathe out in space. But it didn't talk about his telepathy either. You think he'd be able to use telepathy to read the mind of Hawkman to find out if he'd killed his friend, which he obviously hasn't. But maybe they never had telepathy at this point. I don't know. If that was a later addition to his power, his plethora of powers, or what. But anyway, he doesn't do that. But there's a guy who's chasing after Manhunter as well. Apparently he wants to kill him. But he didn't specify that in the first part of the story. But anyway, I reckon he must be something. I reckon he's controlled his mind or done something to him so that he's not acting rationally, personally. Right. This one is another adventure. Superboy takes over the title. I'm not sure when he took over the title, because this is the last Aquaman. I've got 451. Then 456 is this Superboy one. So he might have only just started on this title. It's got a massive subscription crease down the middle. It looks like some of the pages put together with glue as well, but it's alright, it was readable. Some thought experiment kind of robots out in space, sort of testing people by manifesting monsters and seeing how they react, kind of thing. And they make it so that Superboy thinks that he's accidentally injured somebody, to basically make him question his use of his powers and should he be using his powers. One of his school friends, I think his name was Bashford or something like that, some silly name. The school jock says that Superboy doesn't deserve his powers because he was born with them. He didn't earn them like I did to get my muscles, and that obviously was playing on Superboy's mind as well. And when after it looked like he'd accidentally injured that guy and crippled him, he was like, I shouldn't use my powers. What could happen? I've got a bit, and he ends up fighting. He ends up using his powers because his dad has words of him. It says, look, if you don't use them for good, nobody can do it. That kind of thing. One of those kind of pep talks that I'm sure he's had about 1,000,000 times in the comic books over the years. He goes to take out the monsters, realises the residual energy they're leaving behind. He traces it back to the spaceship, gets the truth about what happened. His Bash gets healed because apparently it was a fake injury somehow caused by the aliens, and they could get rid of it. So they did, and then Superboy chucks their spaceship out into space, like, get going, you alien annoyances, and he discusses them out into space. That was it. Got another interview tonight. I'm interviewing a band called Under a Spell. Is it Under a Spell? Got confused myself now. I think it is Under a Spell. Hold on. Yeah, it is Under a Spell, but when I said it out loud, it sounded wrong. Yes, there's a man and wife, the singer and the guitarist from Under a Spell, a cool heavy metal band from Texas. So I'm expecting them to come on wearing big Stetsons and riding horses, because that's what they all do in Texas, I believe. I could be wrong, of course. I also did Catman Jack's 50s Hop. We recorded the new show for October last night as well. So yeah, all jolly good. busy. Tomorrow I've got to do my robot show. No more interviews though till... Actually, I need to sort out some interviews for next week. So any bands want to be interviewed on my channel, get in touch. Okay, I'm out of here. That cough. Oh dear. Hope I haven't got any diseases. Anyway, I'm going to pass to me from yesterday. Past me in the past. He's going to show you some comic books. Isn't he nice? I like that guy. He's a real handsome devil, actually. He's a real good looking fella, Anyway, over to him. Thank you, Past Grey. That was really funny what you just said. Probably, I'm not sure, because I don't know what you said, because it's tomorrow that you're going to be saying it. Right, yes. I am me from the past, a slightly younger, slightly better looking grey man from the past of a whole day. And I'm going to show you some Batgirl comics. This is the first, I think this is the first ever Batgirl run, because although she was around for a heck of a long time, she never got her own comic book. And what's her face? Barbara Gordon as Batgirl never got her own run, I don't believe. Yeah, and says she got crippled instead. And eventually a new Batgirl came along, Cassandra Cain, Night Tiger. Her father is Cain, who was David Cain, I think he was called. Night Tiger thought her dad was Deathstroke for a while, but he was misconfusing her with Rose, Ravager of the Teen Titans. But she was really cool. I'm kind of glad that I stopped collecting when she became a villain for a while. Apparently they made her a villain for a while and everyone was up in arms about it. So they changed it. They retconned it back that she was being controlled by Deathstroke, I think. But yeah, it's cool because she was a really cool character. For a long time she couldn't speak because she was raised not with language, but to know the language of body language. So she can see what people are going to do. She can assess what people are going to do and know how to... So basically she was just trained, brought up to be the ultimate fighting machine. So she can look at people, know they're about to, move this way or that way, and she can judge it. And so she knew the language of battle before she knew how to actually speak. She was able to, I suppose she must have been able to understand because she was recruited by Batman to help him against the no man's land situation after Gotham had suffered from an earthquake and then had been abandoned by the government to fend for itself. Her secret is horrifying. Is she worthy of the costume? Yeah, there's flashbacks to her youth, which I think she had been a murderer because she was brought up to be a murderer. She was brought up to be an assassin, learned to kill, and you see her in one thing. She's 5 years old, and she's ripping some guy's throat out of her bare hands, completely unemotionally. The righteous and the profane, linked by one tragic girl. Yeah, that's her dad, David Cain, I believe. There's Batman. You might recognise him. Right, and early on in her run, she suddenly gets the ability to speak and understand language. Some person with a superpower touches her brain and fixes her brain so she can now communicate and understand. But that affects her fighting ability because she's so used to judging people, knowing people before they even know what they're going to do themselves almost. But because she suddenly taught language, I can't remember the nature of the guy's power that did it. And but it affected her fighting ability. And she kind of had to relearn, in a way, her fighting skills, which was quite annoying because she was meant to meet up with Shiva for a battle to the death or something. Her name is Shiva. She cannot be defeated. It will amuse her to destroy Batgirl. So I'm not sure if that time they've actually said that Shiva was her mother. Maybe that was retconned in later on, they decided. Maybe she was... she might have... I'm sure she would have recognised that as her daughter. But I think what happened actually, remembering it now, I believe that she gave birth to her and then just left her. She wasn't interested. She left her with the father, David Cain, a fellow assassin. And and he raised her to be this ultimate killing machine. So she has no maternal instinct whatsoever. I'm surprised she actually bothered to give birth. If she had no maternal instincts and didn't, and why did she bother bringing the child into the world? But comic books, don't ever think it, man. Don't ever think it. But this is a good run, actually, this Batgirl run. It's got good stories, it's got good action, and quite a keen Cassandra Cain fan, I must say. Her costume is pretty bitchin' as well. It's interesting the way that her face is covered, and you can sort of see the stitches. If you can just look up close, you can see sort of stitches as if originally maybe it was open, and she stitched it so it's closed. Maybe indicative of her own closed nature, her inability to be compassionate. She can be compassionate, but she's what's the word? Empathetic. That she lack a bit of empathy. Is she closed off from people? She doesn't want to socialise, and I think the fact that she was brought up to kill and she escaped from her father, I think she didn't want to. Yeah, I think she maybe somehow sensed that it was wrong what she was doing, even though that's what she was raised. But she was raised with no love, just to kill. And I think that might be you could say the mask is maybe psychologically symbolic of that, maybe. I'm not a bloody psychiatrist. Don't ask me. I don't even know why I'm hazarding an opinion. I should just shut up and show you some comic books. Yeah, but the story is they sort of say that Batgirl could actually beat up Batman. She's that tough. She's actually they've got to have a fight or two along the way, and she proves to be extremely tough, which is very surprising. Why Joker, who couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag, is able to take them both out. Daddy! Alright, she's kicking someone's ass and that person's son's come out. And obviously this is given her flashbacks to her own family and father situations. Definitely a girl with daddy issues. Her daddy showed her no love whatsoever, merely taught her how to fight and kill. He'd do stuff like he'd go in there and he'd just get a gun out and shoot at her. Like wing her, something like that, just to bloody well teach her, Definitely not the kind of upbringing, because it's a good upbringing to raise you to be a ruthless killing machine. I don't know though. I think you're more likely to end up being a gibbering wreck than a ruthless killing machine, and like a ultimate fighter. But yeah, who knows? Nobody dies tonight. Can't remember what that was in aid of, but I think that was the whole point. That something had happened, and to try and honour it, or to try and combat it, it was like, well, no one dies tonight, and there was something that was on a real crusade to ensure that on this night no one died in Gotham. I seem to recall. Right, number 20, Batgirl spoiled. Here we have a spoiler. Daughter of the Clue Master, who ends up becoming a Robin in the future. And then a Batgirl. That's it. That's where I was going with that sentence. I was like, what are you talking about Robin for? No, she's a Robin for a while. Then she's dead for a while. Although not really dead. And she comes back as a Batgirl. Yeah. Joker Last Laugh. Batgirl 21. It's a rather garish-y looking cover there. 22, Crunch Time. And Batgirl certainly makes a lot of people go crunch. She crunches them. She crunches them right in the face. It looks like his neck's been crunched as well there. That don't look too healthy. Chiropractor, please. Right, here's a Batgirl, and it looks like this Batgirl logo is somehow spelt out in smoke. I was thinking I thought it was Spiderweb for a second. It's not going to be Spiderweb, is it? It's linking Batgirl comic. It's not Marvel, so that's smoke that's spelling out the Batgirl logo just about there. If you squint, you can sort of make out it's a Batgirl logo. Yeah, and that's it. That's the first. Oh no, there's one more. Bruce Wayne Murderer Part 2. This is after someone kills his ex-love. I can't remember if they were together at the time or if they were ex at the time. And he gets framed for it. Goes on the run. Yeah, so that's that lot of Batgirl. Back tomorrow to show you some more Batgirl. And yeah, I'm off. I dare say I'll bang a jingle at the end. I'm not going to say who it's going to be for because I don't know at the moment. Not too sure. I know. If I remember, let's do a jingle for AlexBigBlue because it was his birthday the other day, and I could do him an AlexBigBlue jingle for his birthday, even though it's slightly belated. I hope I don't forget and do a jingle for someone completely different. Oh dear, that would be annoying if I do that. Anyway, I'm out of here. Thanks for joining me, Grey Maniacs. I hope you had a good time, and I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, though, I hope you have a great, amazing day, and that all your news will be good news. I nearly forgot. The 5 dwarf planets are Pluto, of course, Ceres, which is one in the asteroid belt. There's Eris, which is just beyond Pluto, slightly smaller but of a greater mass. And there is Makemake, named after the Rapa Nui people of Easter Island's creation god. And then there is Haumea. I can't remember what that one was named after. But yeah, I think that one was the odd shaped one out in the scattered disc, I think, but I could be wrong. Forget now. But if you're a heavy metal geezer or woman and you want to listen to my Planet Theme show, sign up to my Patreon today. Why don't you sub up Alex Big Blue? Why don't you sub up Alex Big Blue? It was his birthday the other day, and he'd like to get a sub from you. If you're not subbed already, of course, in which case, well done, because he's a good channel. Yeah.